pledge allegiance to the flag
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. My country
is of the sweet land of liberty.
I sing, land where
My father's time.
and of thy pilgrim's pride, from every mountainside, let freedom ring.
Thank you. You may be seated. Dan has graciously offered to bless our lunch, so I'll give him the floor. Thank you, Dan.
Good day, everybody. Father, we thank you for your love, for your peace and comfort in a world that needs it more than ever. We thank you now for the time to gather together again to continue to serve our community. We ask that you bless our families, all the new members. We ask these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Dan. All right, well, welcome today, guys. I know you're at hand. Okay, so guests, we have one. Mr. Bailey, thank you for being with us today.
You're very welcome. I apologize I couldn't be there in person. I had a very unexpectedly busy schedule this morning, so hopefully this will suffice, but I do look forward to getting up there in person in the future.
Awesome. Well, thank you. We'll get through some housekeeping stuff and then I'll turn the floor over to you.
Good.
So as far as announcements go today, not too many. Thank you guys for ordering your lunches again, as always. Reminder to get your service hours into Carl. Kiwanis Food Project collection date is May 21st. It's the weekend before Memorial Day.
Right.
By design.
Anybody wants a bag? Let me see. I got them. They're free.
Thank you.
They're free. There you go. Tentatively April 30th for road cleanup, unless Chris tells me otherwise.
I'm going to tell you otherwise. It's probably going to be after the 30th.
Okay.
This month.
It's fine. It's totally fine. We'll update you guys as we know. Birthdays this week. Dave Kimmel had a birthday on the 10th. Judy Patrick has a birthday. Wish her a happy one. But today. Anniversaries. Tim and Jenny Brown is coming up on what's that? Friday, Saturday, the 16th. We have a board meeting next Tuesday, April 19th. We always invite you guys, so please come and check us out if you haven't. All members are always invited. Friday, July 8th, we have our 16th annual Vintners Dinner, sponsored by Edward Jones.
Hey.
Thursday, May 5th, we have our Redmond Community Prayer Breakfast. I'm going to give the floor to Dan for a moment so he can give you an update on that.
We are this year reinstating the prayer breakfast to be a full-blown breakfast back at Redmond Community Church. Again, that's the first Thursday in May on the National Day of Prayer. So we will open the doors at 6:15. Breakfast will be served starting at 6:30. The format again will be the ROTC group coming to help us with the flag opening, worship and prayer, and we'll be on our way out the door at 8:30. Tickets this year are $10, and that is a challenge in terms of the cost of food from what it has been in the past, but we're thankful again that we get a Tate and Tate catered full-blown breakfast. So those of you who are interested, we're going to have tickets at Redmond Community Church. Josh may or may not have some tickets with him today, but they're printed now. You can get them from him or me or the church or at the door. Come join us.
Awesome.
Question.
Thank you. Yes, John.
Do you need help from the key cobs this year?
I don't think we do, because we have Fellowship of Christian Athletes from Redmond High School that are committed to being there.
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Any other announcements? That's all I got. Yeah. Mike, go ahead.
I've got the Kiwanis Foundation Board had their annual meeting this morning with our financial advisor and went through all of our investments. The foundation right now has got a value of about $669,000. A large portion of that, $425,000 plus, is in specific scholarship funds that people have donated, started different funds to provide scholarships, and about $240,000 of that is in our general fund. The only way that our funds were increased, the general fund at least, was the annual giving of the $5,000 from the club. I will give you a better presentation in 2 weeks when we have the little committee meetings, but we went through and made some adjustments, and things are looking pretty good, and as good as can be right now in this economy. Anyway, I just wanted to let you know everybody was there, and we're taking care of the funds as best we can to provide them. The funds we use really from the foundation are more type projects. We did like the Sam Johnson Park, the pavilion down there. We helped build the John Rich Memorial Stadium.
Yeah, I already talked to them about that. I said it was fine.
Center, help fund the swim center to start it, and that's basically what these funds are used for. Our last couple donations one was the Rimrock Trails to help redo their bathrooms, and Friends of the Children to put in a sprinkling system. So, and I do have a list of different funds as far as scholarships and stuff, but I can do that next. It'd be great in 2 weeks.
Thanks, I see another hand, I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
So last week we had our first Oktoberfest meeting. I'm going to send out a summary email by the end of the day. I was hoping to do that last week and just didn't. But we're looking at September 17th for our day. We were thinking about a week earlier, but it's time to start planning around smoke for the rest of our days. We'll have 45 days of smoke the rest of our lives, if not worse. So we need to be thinking about middle of September and later. Last year, it was a day before the event that the smoke, well, no, the morning of the event, it cleared. And so we need to be later. We were thinking earlier for weather reasons, but the smoke is worse than the weather. So we're going to the 17th. That usually gives us time to get first to the rains and a little bit of cool weather to maybe clear the air. Wild Ride was kind of asking us about 2 days again, and I'm not willing to do that at all. So one day. I think that we have a hard time getting enough volunteers for one day anyway. And I also think that we don't really make any more money on 2 days. I think that people come regardless one day, and they pick their day. And if you have one day, they're going to come that day, I think. And I think the numbers bared that out last year. We really didn't make less on one day, not appreciably. Even in our beer sales, it was like maybe a $500 difference for one whole less day of labor and everything. So it does look like we over Rand's position on the for everything on silent auction, so thank you. We got that handled, and then that's going to be where we're going to drive that's where we're going to make our money. So the thing I want to remind people is I'm in a month here getting ready to take some guys out sage rat hunting. It cost me nothing to do it, and we got I think $400 for that sage rat hunting trip. If you have skills, abilities, you can teach somebody something, a certificate for somebody to buy. I mean, we make thousands of dollars off of something that's made up, I mean, not made up, it's skills that we can all do, but that is the money. Everything else, I'm just going to be serious, is to get people there and does nothing for the bottom line. The beer does nothing for the bottom line in the end. $2,000. We got rid of the food because it was 3/4 of the labor. We made $2,000 if we were lucky. All of the money from the silent auction is profit. We need to put all of our efforts into getting silent auction items. It is all that matters for this event to make money. Period. So we need to be thinking about that now. So that's all.
Would you be willing to donate a sage rat thing for the Vintner Center?
I will do another event. That one's a little more. Yeah. I got a couple things.
Way to go. Way to go, Josh. I
Go ahead.
So next Friday is Earth Day. And if anybody is involved in things associated with service for Earth Day and could take another person to participate, I would like to do that. Just don't have any, outlets for that. So anyway.
Yeah, everybody thinks on that. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if some, organizations do events, you need another set of hands.
I don't know if there is.
Yeah, anyway.
Okay. Amber's not here, so no free guys.
Okay. Would you mind pulling the ticket out, please? Oh, there's pressure.
Oh man, okay. Everybody ready?
Yeah.
564997.
Oh, man.
We're close.
Whoever was after me.
That's 2 in a row. I said I had to get my tickets before Mike Patrick and it worked. Happy darn. Thank you. All right.
Fishy in Denmark.
All right, let's make this quick, guys. So Michelle, are you happy?
Yeah, I don't know if John was able to thank all of you. I wasn't here last week, but I just want to thank all of the Kiwanis Club who showed up for the Keeper Magical Group Bash at Wild Ride. It's so great to be there, even in a busy capacity, and have such wonderful support from our club. And so I just would encourage us, like if anybody has an open house or a coffee platter or anybody in this organization, let's all get there because it really does feel good to have the support. So thank you guys so much.
Okay. So, Mr. Vertrees?
I planted all my tomatoes. They're in the living room, waiting to be put out into the garden 2 months from now. I'd like to point out I have a true happy dollar here. I was walking through the parking lot the other day. There's a little cross in front of me. Thought that better go into here.
Yeah.
Number 2, I have just last week I downloaded a thing called Echolink for my iPhone. iPhones can do everything. I'm an amateur ham. Now with Echolink, I can tune into a station and talk to people on my iPhone, which is really kind of cool. I don't know how it works, but I don't care. The next thing is that I got to go to the first Key Club meeting in a year and a half. And it was kind of desperate though. They didn't have many people there. Amanda's really concerned and she's working on it. One of my granddaughter was accepted a scholarship to Western Oregon University. I had to look up to see where it was, but I'm glad she got that scholarship. And finally, when my buds are out of my apple tree, I hope that the snow doesn't discourage them from going. What I do every year, I don't know if you remember Gregor Mendel from your high school science. He was the monk that would cross-pollinate bee plants. He was able to develop the concept of genetics. And I like to play the same game. I go out in the summer and in the spring and play Gregor Mendel. That's enough.
I'm just happy to do it. Mr. Fisher?
I'm happy I'm leaving tomorrow to drive down to California and see my grandkids and my daughter.
Oh, look at that.
I got 5.
Deeper believer.
Happy for my wife's birthday. Happy for Beaver's sweep of USC for the first time in Los Angeles ever. Also, the pitching squad didn't give up a single walk the entire 3 games. Stephen Kwan, a member of our 2018 championship, is starting for the Cleveland Guardians. He's leading the MLB and hitting so far through the first 4 games. He's hitting .692. It's been an amazing story.
Yeah, his first 160 pitches, he didn't swing a miss.
Yeah, and he's made some beautiful catches in the outfield. He was kind of hidden behind all the other stars we had on that team, but it's really been fun to watch. And they did an interview with Pat Casey on MLB Network last night. It was great. And then the Kiwanis Foundation meeting this morning was fabulous to be able to schedule it, have it come off with everybody. It didn't hang right on time.
Mike, is the Cleveland Guardians, is that the team that has the first female first base coach?
Nope, that was Giants.
Oh.
Happy dollar for
my daughter-in-law, my son, and my two grandchildren are headed into Boston as we speak, and she's running in the Boston Marathon on Monday. She has done that a number of years. She actually made the Olympic marathon team. What was that, last year? 2 years ago. And she'll be at the head of the pack runners when they start.
So what's her name?
Her name is Hagen, Hagen. Lindsay is her first name.
And her bib number, so we.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't have that information yet, but that is a good question.
Oh, wow.
All right, okay.
John, I hope your apple tree makes it, but I'm happy that there's more snow coming down on the mountain.
So today is my grandson's 26th birthday. I can't believe he's that old. And I don't know if it's a happy dollar, but it's I'm sorry I'm late dollar.
Oh. These are fine. I like that.
Here's one, the second, Patrick. Yep. And first snow.
Okay.
Very excited for sage rat and rock chuck season and getting back into reloading as I prepare for those creatures.
I'll put 5 in this week. This time next week I'll be free. And then also we had a great vintners dinner planning meeting, and I got introduced to something called Arizona Sun Pie. Did I get that right? Sunshine pie.
Oh, man.
Holy cow.
Oh, man.
Holy cow.
That good.
Yeah, that's funny because I've got $1 for the pie too. My second dollar is for my new segment, New Hobby Who Dis. I'm really loving learning about you guys. I now have 8, 9, maybe 10 people who sent me their hobbies. I'm going to give this next one to you right now. And then I'm going to give you a moment to guess who it is. Now, I will give you a hint. This person is not present today. Okay, so this person is a beach girl at heart. She is passionate about razor clam digging, beach combing, berry picking, or anything else that she can harvest. She used to bike a lot prior to 2 reconstructive surgeries and will return after 1 more upcoming. She's also into yoga. Outdoors, mostly near water in the sun, is where she is found. In addition to hiking, she likes to walk her 15-year-old dog, Sassy, who is a Lhasa-Poo. I don't know how you say that.
Lhasa-Apso.
1 to 2 miles per day. Who do we think it is? That's a great guess. No.
She has a little,
Oleander. Oleander, what's her first name? Lauren.
No. Good guess.
That's a good one.
Go ahead.
Great guess, actually.
How about Amber?
Mount Hannah.
She's a new member. I'll tell you, she's a new member. Lori? She'll be glad to know we stopped.
Jamie Crispin? No, I'm just going to remember.
Yeah.
Amanda.
The Chamber of Commerce.
Amanda.
Naomi Stevens.
No? Oh, good guess. No. Where's Naomi been? No.
Oh, we should call it.
Nicole?
What is this then?
We give up.
It's just rolling.
Julie Olson. Julie Olson.
Julie, yes.
Okay. Yeah, Julie Olson was the answer. All right. Well, Josh, you have the floor. I'm going to apologize. I have to sneak out a couple minutes early, so if you see me walking around, nothing you said, I promise.
Hey, very good. Well, thank you for the opportunity. For those that do not know me, my name is Josh Bailey. I'm the General Manager for North Unit Irrigation District. And today I wanted to kind of give you guys an update on a couple different items. Number one, we'll talk about the kind of the history of North Unit. We'll talk about where our current water situation is. And if we have some time, we'll talk about some future projects that we're working on. So first thing I'm going to do is share my screen here. Hey, can everyone see this map here?
Yep.
Yeah.
See if I can get it a little bit bigger. How about that? That better?
That's good.
Okay, we're gonna. Oh, by the way, if you have any questions, feel free to ask as we're going through this presentation here. So first off, I want to kind of take you a walk down memory lane. You'll notice the date on the bottom of this map here is June 1971. And this is a map of Central Oregon. We've got 8 irrigation districts in the in Central Oregon. As you can see up here at the very top, this is my district here, North Unit Irrigation District. And down here, you got COID, Central Oregon Irrigation District. Ochoco is over here. This was actually named Squaw Creek, but now it's Three Sisters Irrigation. You've got Tumalo, Swally, and Arnold Irrigation District. And you have this little guy over here called Lone Pine Irrigation District. So those are the districts that comprise Central Oregon. Now, out of all of these districts here, North Unit, because we were the largest, and we were constructed the last, if you will. All these other districts were constructed first. This was originally called the South Unit down here. Basically, we have the high bridge at Crooked River, and then the North Unit is up here. And when they were developing this in the early 1900s, World War II broke out, and they put North Unit kind of on the back burner. So they fought the war, and then after the war, finished up North Unit. So that's our kind of geography of the districts in Central Oregon. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this flyer here. So basically, North Unit serves roughly 60,000 acres. We have 952 water users, and we were constructed from 1938 to 1949. We delivered our first water, which was 17,000 acres in 1946. And in 1949, they were able to finish delivery to the remaining acres. We have 2 dams or reservoirs. One of them is Wickiup, and the other is Haystack. Wickiup Reservoir is our primary storage for our summer irrigation, and Haystack Reservoir is what we call our regulating reservoir. We have roughly 65 miles of main canal. So that would be starting in Bend. Our main canal continues all the way to the far north, all the way up to the Deschutes River. And we have 235 miles of laterals interspersed there to deliver water to all of our patrons. We have 2 hydro facilities on our district, and we generate approximately 3.5 megawatts of renewable energy through that. Have 1,500 delivery structures that we deliver water to our patrons throughout the district. And our system is what they call a metered and demand system. And what that means is our individual farmers or patrons, they order water the day before they want it delivered. So for example, our first water deliveries for this year will be this Friday. So our patrons will either contact the office, or we have an online ordering program, and they can go online, order the water, and then our ditch riders will deliver that water to those individual patrons for as long as they want. And typically it's a 24-hour run. We start it, stop it. And then that's why we have Haystack Reservoir, because every day we adjust the outflow from Haystack. So if my staff and I are doing our job correctly, we have 0 water returning to natural sources, i.e. Crooked River or the Deschutes River. So all of the water we divert, our goal is to put 100% of that water on farm. Questions so far?
I do have a question.
What's that?
A question for you on piping. Are you going to be getting into that as part of the presentation? Maybe I should wait to ask about that.
I could briefly talk about piping towards the end, but the short answer right now is the estimate to pipe North Unit's, our district, is $1 billion. That's with a B. It's more productive for us to put our efforts towards piping COID because Central Oregon Irrigation District, they have senior water rights over us. So if we piped our system, that would be great. But if we don't have water to put into the pipes, it doesn't do us a whole lot of good. So we have partnered with COID to make their system more efficient. And as they pipe and become more efficient, the water savings gets transferred to North Unit. Our farmers use that during the summertime. And then part of our habitat conservation plan requirements is we release a portion of that winter in the winter to support stream health. So to answer your question on our district, we're specifically doing smaller piping projects, but as far as the big stuff, that's with COID.
How much are you guys running into resistance with all those efforts?
Us particular, we're not dealing with a whole lot of resistance. I know some of our partner irrigation districts, i.e. Tumalo, they're in the process of finishing up piping their system, and there's some resistance with them, with different organizations that don't want to have them piped. And I understand the reasonings why, but from our perspective, it's about water efficiency and using the water as efficiently as we can and spreading it out for all the needs, i.e. The irrigators, the river health, and recreationists. Questions on any of that? I want to jump over here.
Notice that you mentioned 1946.
Yeah, so in 1946, that's when we made our first water delivery to our patrons of North Unit.
I was in the Redmond High School band. We went under.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's good stuff. I like that.
Could have been 49, but it was 46.
Deal.
Wow.
So even though in North Unit, we are the largest, we're the second largest irrigation district in the state of Oregon. We're the largest irrigation district in Central Oregon. We're also the largest producer of agricultural products as well. North Unit produces roughly 50%, 55% of the world's hybrid carrot seed and other various carrot seeds. So just to quantify that, half of the world's carrots, the seed is grown in Jefferson County, specifically by North Unit patrons. We have the very unique climate to be able to do that. And we've got a lot of infrastructure in place to be able to do that. A lot of the other products that we grow dill, mint, there's no carrot seed, Kentucky bluegrass seed, poppy seed, wheat, barley, alfalfa, a whole myriad of grasses, orchard, Bermuda, Timothy, those kind of things as well. A lot of what our crops are focused on are low water consumption crops for obvious reasons. We're the junior water right holder, and typically our patrons receive a 2 acre-foot allotment of water. However, this year, actually let me back up. Last year, they received 1 acre-foot, and because of the severity of the drought last year, we had to reduce that allotment by 2/10. This year, even though we have the same amount of water capacity or storage in Wikiup, because of what we call the live flow in the Deschutes River, meaning unallocated water is just not available this year, we actually set our allotment to a 0.45. So to put that in perspective, just think about your chosen profession that you work in, and you work your 40, 50-hour work week, and you go to collect your paycheck, but you only get paid 1/4 of what your paycheck is. That is essentially what the farmers in North Unit are facing this year because of the lack of water. And we hope to allocate more water later in season. We'll just have to see how things go and how the drought affects us. Questions? Okay. So this is what we call a teacup diagram of the reservoirs and the stream flows here in Central Oregon. You can see down here, the lower left here, this is Wickiup Reservoir. We have 108,000 acre feet. We're roughly 54% full. And the way our system works here is we release our water from Wickiup Reservoir, and it travels down the Deschutes River and pick that water up at our diversion in Bend. And at that point, we have 65 miles that it transports the water to the district. In those 65 miles, we have 2 miles of tunnels that go through Smith Rock. And we also have a 200 CFS pumping plant on the Crooked River. Then we have water rights to the Crooked River. We pump water out of that to supplement our Deschutes water rights. And so that's just a little taste of what it takes to get the water to our patrons down here in Madras. So one of the things you notice here on this teacup diagram is you notice that everything is either half full or half empty, depending on which way you look at it. And some of them are dang near empty. Like up here, you see Ochoco Reservoir. They're at 17% full. Prineville Reservoir, you can see they're at 27% full. And these numbers were taken yesterday, so everything is very up to date. Typically, Prineville Reservoir, it holds basically 150,000 acre feet. Normally, they get well over 90,000, 100,000 acre feet on a normal year. Normal years, it fills, but an average year, you're looking at 90,000 acre feet. This year, 27% full. So Ochoco Irrigation District, they're going to have a real tough season this year. Lack of water for their patrons, and again, really low water allotment for them as well. Question on stuff here?
I have a question in regards to piping and using more conservative means. Is there a way that we can turn this thing around? Because I've never seen them this low.
Well, I would say that the first step is pray for rain. The second step is help get behind efforts to pipe the districts and become more efficient. As we become more efficient, we can potentially use less water and grow the same amount of crops. Other than that, there's not too much we can do. You can't really control how much Mother Nature gives us every year, and other than how we can best distribute the water and be as efficient as we can for delivery. I will say, out of necessity, the North Unit Irrigation District is one of the most efficient districts actually in the nation concerning if you're comparing districts that have open canal type systems. And again, we do that out of necessity. A lot of our farmers are irrigating their crops with drip or micro sprinklers. We have very, very little flood irrigation. You'll notice we have a lot of pivots, a lot of wheel lines, and a lot of those sprinklers are using what we call LISA, or like low elevation spray applications. So where the sprinklers are right above the crop canopy, putting the water directly on the soil, trying to prevent the least amount of evaporation and stuff like that. So by necessity, we are very, very efficient in that regard. And we do continue to pipe when we can. 2 years ago, we finished up a 8.5 mile, 48-inch diameter piping project. And right now we're currently in the process of putting the final touches on our environmental assessment to begin piping another 27 miles worth of laterals within our district. Unfortunately, we can't do the main canal because of its sheer size. just the money to be able to do that, that's really not an option. So what we do is we kind of pick the low hanging fruit right now to pipe the smaller stuff, then that would give us the most water savings possible. And we anticipate, not this year, but next year, we hope to start breaking ground on that project. It'll be a multi-year project, and it'll be roughly about $35 million project. And we've already secured $25 million of that funding, and we're working on procuring the remainder.
Is there any opportunity for groundwater development?
It is, unfortunately, for where we are at, north of the Crooked River, you won't find a lot of wells on our end. And the primary reason is because the water table is in excess of 5, 6, 7, almost 1,000 feet deep to be able to tap into that water. So we don't do a whole lot of groundwater where we're at.
All right, in the second part of that, is there any opportunity to pump water out of Lake Billy Chinook?
Yeah, that's a little bit further down in my presentation, and I'll get to that. Before I get to the LBC project, I want to kind of show you these charts right here. So this is a Oregon SNOTEL report, and basically it tells us what the conditions of the snow are looking like. And green is basically 90 to 100%. And you can see we're in the 70 to 80th percentile for snow. So we're way down on snow. And then this next slide here, this is the one we don't like to see, especially, but you can see the water equivalent in that snow. And you can see it's less than 50% of average in some of these areas. And in our area here, it's 70% of average. So the snow that we are getting, it doesn't have the normal water equivalent that would typically accompany that snow. Now that doesn't mean for the couple feet of snow we got in the past 48 hours up at Mount Bachelor, that will certainly help. But as far as this irrigation season, unless we get an atmospheric river or something like that over Wickiup Reservoir, it's not going to do us a whole lot of good, unfortunately. So you mentioned Lake Billy Chinook. So before we get there, does anybody have any questions on where we're at on our water report or water conditions?
What does water equivalent mean? Does that just mean the snow's so dry versus the, having the wet stuff? Okay, so you can't make a snowman, in other words, snowman, or when it's really wet. Gotcha. Okay.
People experienced snow conditions where you get what they call a popcorn snow, where it's real light and fluffy, and you can go out there with a weed blower and blow it off your driveway. And then you get those real wet snows that each shovelful, is about 50 pounds. That's the kind of snow we're looking for. But unfortunately, we've been getting a lot of popcorn snow. So a big project that we are currently working on, and we literally this week just received approval from the U.S. Bureau of Reclamation to begin what we call an appraisal study, which is a study to assess the feasibility of developing a pumping plant on Lake Billy Chinook. Okay, can you guys see my cursor moving around here?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So this here is the Crooked River coming in right here, and right here is what we call Opal Springs. That is the Deschutes Valley Water District's pumping facilities and hydro generation facility right there. So what we want to do is right now we have pumps that are located on the Crooked River behind Terrebonne, and we would like to essentially remove those pumps and move them. It'll be new pumps. It won't be those same pumps, but construct a new pumping plant on the Crooked River arm of Lake Billy Chinook. So the reasons is, hey, why would you go through all that expense to move the pumps that you already have down further? Here's the reasons. There's various reasons. A couple of the the good points for those reasons. Number one is it opens up the entire length from Bowman Dam all the way down to Lake Billy Chinook. It would be free and unobstructed for fish passage. Secondly, we have 10,000 acre feet of stored water in Prineville Reservoir that normally our pumps would pump that in normal seasons. Well, if we remove our pumps, that water can travel all the way down the Crooked River, thereby enhancing the Crooked River and that watershed area. One of the primary reasons for us is we have a 200 CFS water right on the Crooked River, and we would be able to access that full water right if we move the pumps a little bit lower down. Another possibility is the water that we release in the wintertime for what we call Habitat Conservation Plan or Endangered Species Act requirements. As you know, we are required to release water out of Wickiup Reservoir in the off season to basically balance out our ultimate goal is to balance out the river to what the historic flows were before the dam was built. And so we would still be storing water, but we'd be releasing more to kind of return to a normal river type flow. Well, if we move the pumps down to Lake Billy Chinook, that would enable us to be able to access that water during the summertime, which would be hugely beneficial for our patrons. It doesn't necessarily give us more water, but what it does, it gives us reliable water. This year's in particular, because we are the junior water right holder, we have to set our allotments a quarter of what they would normally be, or 3/4 less than what they would normally be. And that hits our patrons, right square in the pocketbook. If we had a pumping plant right now that we could turn on, I could set the water allotment a lot higher, and this drought wouldn't be as much of an effect to the patrons in North Unit. So it's reliable water is what we're after. See, we've got two different proposals that we're working on right now. One of them would be putting the plant down by the current marina and running the pipeline through Culver. And this is Haystack Reservoir here. A cheaper option, which is moving it up closer to the Opal Springs plant. And we would be able to decrease the amount of pipe used, and we would put it in a little bit higher in the system. And so you can see here the estimated cost of this project is between 350 to 440 million. If we were to do this option here, we could get that cost a lot lower to probably a 250 or under $300 million project. It's a big project. It's a big lift, but this would solve a myriad of issues that we have here in Central Oregon going forward. So we're working full steam ahead to try to get this project going. Questions on that?
What would it do? Is it going to do anything to the water level in Lake Billy?
No, not necessarily. It would just mean that it would be a little bit less water that would be released out of the hydro. But as far as drawing the water level down, it wouldn't do that.
How would that not end up affecting flow below the dam? It seems like robbing Peter to pay Paul and pretending you're not a little bit. I mean, I'm not saying it's not a great plan, but it seems like the flow below would have to go down. You're going to be taking more out.
So again, right now we have a 200 CFS water right on the Crooked River, and we pump that water right now regardless. And as our Habitat Conservation Plan, which is a 30-year plan, as that plan unfolds, we have to increase the amount of water that we are releasing out of Wickiup Reservoir. And so that water, once that pumping plan is put in place, we would be tapping into a portion of that water that we would be releasing in the wintertime. We wouldn't be taking all of it. So even if we did have a pumping plant in place right now, it would still be a net gain to the lower Deschutes because of our wintertime releases.
So even if the drought improves, reality of the wintertime releases you have to make, is there really any potential that you guys are ever gonna have good capacity in Wickiup?
So it's the 30-year plan. For the first 7 years, we have to release 100 CFS. On year 8, that goes to 300 CFS. And then another 8 years down the road, so it gets to be year 16, then we'd have to potentially go up to 400 to 500 CFS flows. And on dry years like this year, that's potentially very problematic, and there wouldn't be enough water to necessarily fill the reservoir. It would basically just be passing the water. However, we are in a 100-year drought right now. When we return to normal flow times, it will be lower, but it won't be as bad as what it seems. There's been years in the past where we've actually had to release 250 CFS during the winter because there was that much inflow coming in. But now bear in mind, as the releases in the winter go up, our conservation projects in other districts go up as well. And if we were able to get COID, get just our Pilot Butte canal completely piped, that's in excess of 250 CFS of water. So the water we release in the winter would essentially be replaced by live flow water that COID is saving during the summertime.
Pilot Butte Canal, are they pulling off the historic designation for that stretch that they're trying to save because people want their water feature?
I think a question for Craig Harrell, the manager of COID. My hunch is yes, landowners like their seasonal water feature more so than conserving water. That would be my hunch, but I don't. I've got enough problems of my own, so I'll just leave it at that.
Does it look like they're, I mean, from what you can tell though, that one stretch that they're fighting so hard to make historic, is that looking like they're going to win that battle?
I couldn't answer that question. I don't have my ear to the rail on that fight.
Hey Josh, I was just curious if the reason why you have to up the water release, is that because of the frog spotted frog thing?
Yeah, so again, the ultimate goal of the habitat conservation plan is to reduce the or return the river, the Deschutes, Upper Deschutes River specifically, to what its natural flow was before Wickiup Reservoir was constructed. And historically, it was a relatively stable river. And then once the reservoir was constructed, you have a lot of highs and lows. So at the end of irrigation season, we would begin storing water. The flows would, traditionally go down to about 25 CFS for the wintertime. And then when summertime hit, we began releasing that water, and flows can, be as high as, 1800 CFS. So the plan is to establish a more uniform flow in the river and restore it to its original condition as best as possible.
So another question, in covering the laterals, how much gain do you get?
How much? What do I get?
If you covered the laterals, because they're fighting more for what do they call them? The main one, for the water features. But if we cover the laterals that are running randomly through, like I have 2 of them coming, in my backyard, basically. If they cover those laterals, how much water savings do you have?
It really depends on how much water is being transported down those laterals and the condition of the soil in that area. Down here where we're at, our soils are a lot more sandy, loamy with a little bit of clay, and we have a good hard pan. Whereas when you go south of the Crooked River, it's an incredibly volcanic, porous soil that the water just seeps right through. So lot of losses in that area, and hence the reason why irrigation districts are wanting to pipe that. Number one, just be better stewards of the limited resources that we have.
Yeah, I've heard numbers as high as 50%, 25% seepage, 25% evaporation with a lot of those.
Yep, that's accurate.
Biggest bang for your buck.
All of them are. All of it's bad. I mean, even the good ones that are lined are still losing in the range of 30-35% to evaporation and seepage.
It depends. We have a 12-mile section of our main canal coming out of Bend that is concrete lined, and our losses on there are about 7%. So it's considerably better than what it would normally be.
Makes sense to pipe those at all then without low losses.
No.
What's that now? I'm sorry.
It probably wouldn't make sense to pipe those at all with those low losses.
Well, that first 12 miles, correct. But then again, we've got another 20 something miles before it gets onto the district. But our system is designed for 1100 CFS, and to be able to put pipe in big enough to accommodate that. I mean, you're looking at two 9 or 10 foot diameter pipes for piping that main canal, and it's big bucks to do that for us. COID on their Pilot Butte Canal, they're not flowing quite that much, so they can get away with a single 9 foot diameter pipe.
So looking to the long term, if our climate changes as drastic as people are saying, is there a change in crops that might happen in your area that are lower water use crops?
There's are on the cutting edge. If you don't know, we do have a OSU research facility here in Madras, and those are things that those PhDs are working with our farmers to research to, i.e., get a better crop and use less water. That's one of the primary reasons for that. And so we continue to work in that arena. I'm not necessarily involved in that. I'm more in the supply the water kind of side of things, but we are definitely do that and will continue to do that as climate change continues.
Good. Josh, thank you. Sorry I had to go jump our president. Thank you for your presentation. This is always very interesting to hear, as the snow that we had is already melted. So thank you again. Thank you, everybody. I will go ahead and dismiss us.
Hey, thank you.